Okay.
Hi. Wait,
Hello.
so you say you want to go into law school, right?
Yeah.
Other than like political science, what
Mhm.
would you like recommend for like an undergrad degree?
Okay. Okay, so there's some people like who do panelists and they like act like they know everything. I'm just gonna like come up front. I don't know everything about like applying to law school and things like that. I'll just answer the question to the best of my ability if that helps. But I do watch like YouTube videos of like people who are like, oh, I recommend this degree or this degree, and you can like literally be in like any certain path and like it will work. Or like that's where my advice mainly comes from. It's just like other people's advice. But I think it really just depends on what you like as a student. So for me personally, I do enjoy like political science and like politics and things like that. So that like interests me, like public policy, somewhere along those lines. I do know political science quite a popular undergraduate major to pursue and then do law school. I have heard of like English majors. English is a really important subject too if you want to do law school because there's a lot of reading and writing um in law school, or so I've heard. I think you could even pursue a science if you wanted to, like data science or like any of like research-based sciences. Like law school is really, really flexible in terms of which applicants they accept and which majors you pursue. Whereas like if you want to pursue med school, it's a little bit more like there's a little bit more requirements. What do you personally think like is of your interest? Because I guarantee you law school is probably open to whatever you are thinking of pursuing.
Yeah, like I was also really interested in like international relations, so I was gonna do that.
Yeah, international relations I think is like the second most popular major for like to feed into law school. So yeah, that's probably why I'm choosing like the most popular ones. But really it's as flexible as you can imagine.
Okay, thank you so much.
Yeah, no problem. Hi,
Yeah,
Andrew.
hi, I just joined the room because I also have a few questions. I'm not sure if you already answered this, but why did you choose to major in political science and international relations specifically?
Yeah. Oh my gosh, it feels so like I'm just going into my freshman year. Like I swear I'm just like a year older than you, right? I'm not like all knowing or anything. I'm just this is just like my personal experience. I watched this girl, I think Kath Path, like she's on YouTube. She goes to Stanford and like she's so cool. And she did a political science major and she's I think she got into Columbia this year and she's like one of my favorite YouTubers ever. So I was like, she gives me all these like advice about like what she's doing. I low key think I modeled myself after her. That's probably what happened. But one of the reasons why I want to go to the US is because it's more flexible. So if I do end up not liking political science, I could try to change my major much more easily than if I were in a Canadian program, because Canadian program is like really hard to change your program because you're kind of like set in that path. And US is like more flexibility.
Oh yeah, that definitely does make sense. It's actually pretty ironic because I also watched the cat path on YouTube or just like
Oh my gosh, that's great.
yeah.
Yeah. I love her videos so much. I think she's so like inspirational. Like, so yeah, she was a political science major at Stanford. She's going to law school in Columbia. Um, I like keep track of her life. It's kind of creepy, but yeah, she does a lot of the things that I'm interested in. I think one thing that's different about her is that she wanted to be a computer science major. So like she went into Stanford thinking she was going to major in computer science, but then like ended up not liking it. That might happen to me if I don't like political science. I'm gonna think about changing. Yeah, something like that. Are you
Mm,
thinking of going to the US as well?
yeah, I'm planning to just apply to the universities, like all of the I guess like the top universities, but I don't have like a set university that I really want to go to.
Mhm.
It's just kind of like apply everywhere and see what happens.
Definitely. I think that's probably the best way to go. Just one thing is like I think I spent so much money on college apps. It was like unnecessary amount of money. If like looking back, I would probably not have applied to so many places. Yeah. I think the only two universities I ended up trying to choose between was Northeastern in Boston and then also UC Davis. Sometimes I think like, oh, what if I went to UC Davis? Like it's ranked a little bit higher, but like the only problem was that it was like it's a public university, which is fine. It's just that there's a lot more, like the student faculty ratio was really intense. I think it's like 20-1, whereas like Boston it's like 7-1, so or 14-1, I forgot. Yeah. And I didn't want to go to Northeastern. They're like right next to each other, Boston and Northeastern, but Northeastern is like more STEM heavy, and they have co-op. So I don't know if you're like interested in like work pre-professional, where it's like you immediately work after your undergraduate degree, but like co-op is like super stonks in terms of, sorry, that's not professional language, but like you get money, right? Because like you get to work for like a quarter or like a semester, and then you get to take classes the other semester, and money is nice, but I don't want to work right after undergraduate.
Yeah, wait, so is their co-op program kind of like what we have here at the University of Waterloo?
Yeah, it's basically the same. I think Waterloo has like an extra year of study because of co-op. I don't know. Some Northeastern kids actually do an extra year of study. Another thing is that like I made the NYU in program, which is like Northeastern International, where like the first semester you get to like study abroad. I didn't apply for it. I was selected for it. At the time I was like, oh my gosh, I feel so special. Like I got selected for this program. But then afterwards I was like doing a little bit more research, and somewhere they said like it's because one year they accepted too many people and they didn't have enough campus space or dorm room. So they're like, okay, let's send these people abroad and like put them in the NYU in program. So I was like, okay, maybe I don't want to go to Northeastern. Plus they're really STEM heavy, and I know like I'm not gonna go into STEM afterwards. Watch me like eat my words later, but I don't think I'm gonna be going into STEM.
Yeah, no, that makes sense though. I really like how in US universities it's so easy to change your major. So like yeah, I also don't really know what I want to major in. So that's something that's really
Yeah,
important to me about US universities.
definitely.
That was my biggest thing too. Like I never really considered US universities until like today you guys mentioned like you can change your majors. Because I don't really know what I want to do yet.
I think that was one of the most appealing parts about the US. It's like I knew for a fact that I wanted to go to the US. Like I would have, like obviously I'm not gonna like sugarcoat it or anything. Like my school isn't ranked like top 20 or anything. It's not like the best, but I wanted to go to Boston just because the Boston University or Boston Law School is ranked a top 20 school, and like there's like more law opportunities for students, which is nice. Um, but yeah, in terms of like I definitely think if it's like US or Canada and you're like still open to Canadian schools, I definitely think like if you're gonna go with US, like go for an Ivy. But I knew that I like wanted to go like no matter what, because I wasn't into like being set into a program for Canadian schools. Plus there's just a different experience. Like I heard Maya is gonna go backpacking at UPenn. Like she's literally just gonna like take her little backpack and a tent and then just like sleep in the woods with her fellow freshmen, which is like so interesting. And that's like the difference, like the difference between like an Ivy school and a non-Ivy school. Like we're both private universities, but some people just put a little bit more care into their students than others. Yeah, it's basically why I chose the US. Where are you thinking of applying? I don't want to butcher your name. Is it Mincy?
Yeah.
Yeah. Where are you thinking of applying?
I don't know, like originally before like considering American universities, I was just gonna apply to like University of Toronto.
That's a great school. I think that's a top 28 school in the world, which is like if you like the culture in Canada, like U of T is a great school. One thing about U of T though, no, it's pretty set on. Like I'm not like just making up rumors, but they have grade deflation.
Yeah.
Boston has grade deflation too. If you search up like schools with the heaviest grade deflation, Boston comes up as like number one. It's so sad. Princeton has really bad grade deflation as well. So if you like have that like connection where you're like, I know I did, where like your grades determine your worth. I'm trying to like rewire my mindset right now, but it's a little bit scary. Yeah, grade deflation. But U of T, like I heard students like jump off buildings because they're so sad, and I'm like, oh my gosh, that sounds terrifying. Like also there was that guy who, you know what? There's this guy who like walked around with like a bucket and threw like feces on people in the library. I'm sorry, I don't know if like, you can cut that out if that was like inappropriate for the panel, but yeah, it was a little scary. I was like, oh my gosh, like being in the heart of Toronto. Ooh, sorry. Toronto.
That's what I'm scared of. Or like I was also considering Western because they have like an advanced I don't know, AEO.
Yeah.
And that I also was interested in that, but like I'm still really unsure.
Western is beautiful, one of the prettiest Canadian schools ever. I love Western so much. I really wanted my friend to go there, but then she was like, nah, I'm gonna choose Waterloo instead. I'm like, ew, Waterloo's so ugly. Waterloo's great though, but like in terms of aesthetic, Western is so much prettier.
Yeah, I'm also like not very STEM oriented, so I've never leaned towards Waterloo.
Yeah, that's me too. I didn't apply for Waterloo. Like the Canadian university has applied for. Ooh, one thing I wanted to mention this during the panel, but I was like, nah, it's fine. I think like in terms of the application process, one of the more like it's definitely more rigorous, like the US application process. You have to write like a 650 word common application essay, like your personal statement. And then some schools have like additional essays. Boston only had one, but Northeastern had 0, which was nice. But like a lot of other schools have like quite a bit of additional essays. And that was like really, really hard to write. But the only school in Canada that had like almost more essays, if anything, like more and was more expensive to play for was UBC. I applied for UBC Sauder School of Business. It was so intense. It was like you had to write like 7 different essays that were all like 250 word, 150 word, 100 word essays. And then like extracurriculars, you needed to like state 5. Normally they don't even ask for extracurriculars for like Ontario universities. And I think it was like they needed like 2 teacher recs, and then what else did they need? They needed a video interview where you like go on this website and then like record yourself answering like a question that you don't get beforehand, and it like pops up and you're like, okay, now I have like 2 minutes to answer it, and you have to like cut your time perfectly. It was so scary. I was like, what is happening? And I did it at like 1 a.m. I just wanted to get it over with. So I'm like, okay, I'm going to do it right now. So then, because you do it based on your own time, like put on my little suit, put some makeup on, and I was like, okay, let's do this. So like did it. And then I was like, okay, done. Yeah, UBC was terrifying. Oh my gosh. The cost was like $80 or $70 for like the school itself. And then you had to pay an extra $80 for Sauder. And I was like, please, I can't do this. That's like too much. I think U of T also has a
U of T is like Rotman Commerce, like they have it. My mom wants me to, but after seeing like the video part, I don't want to do it.
You know what? It's actually not that hard. Like I think that video part is just like a regular like US interview. It's basically just a test that you can talk. Like you're not some absolute like hermit who can't like string a sentence of words together. I say this while I'm like stumbling on my words. But really it's just to see if you can like talk. I think, are you in grade 11, Lucy, or grade?
I'm going into grade 11.
Okay.
In September.
Like literally apply to ramen. Like apply just so that you can have that option in the end. Unless you don't want to pay so much for apps, but like apply if you want to. But
yeah.
I don't even remember what I applied for Ontario. I know that there's this like, okay, this is gonna sound really stupid, but like OUAC has this package deal where it's like you apply for 3 schools for $150 and every additional school is $50.
Oh.
Do you see how like that doesn't make sense? But like it does kind of make sense. I don't know how to explain it, but like I guess it's because like you don't want to apply for just 1 or 2. They encourage you to apply to more. I think I only paid $150. What did I apply to in Canada? I applied to McMaster's Humanities, which was like an 80% acceptance rate. So I was like, okay, you know what? This could be like my absolute like default backup plan. And then second one was Queen's Commerce, and then Western Ivy. That was it. That's all I applied to. And then I applied to UBC. I think in Canada, my first choice would have been UBC because it's like West Coast, which is nicer. It rains a lot, but it's nicer. And also like Sauder is like #1 in Canada, tied with Rotman, I think. So yeah, definitely apply for Rotman if you like Rotman.
Yeah. UBC, I've heard, is like super competitive. So I don't know if
U of T. I think they just gas it up too much. Yeah, it's the same as U of T. Like don't think too hard about it. Don't apply to don't not apply because it's competitive. Apply because it's competitive, and then see where you end up. Angelina, are you in grade 12 this year?
Yeah, I'm going to grade 12 this September, which sounds great because it feels like just last year I was like in grade 9. I feel like it's because of COVID. It just like doesn't exist anymore, right? It's like, everything's just flowing together.
Nice. Do you go to Bayview or are you different school?
Oh, I go to St. Teresa. It's a school in Richmond Hill.
Yeah, no, I've heard of St. Teresa. Where are you considering applying to?
I don't know, like in Canada, probably just U of T, Rotman, and Waterloo. I'm very interested in business, but I'm also interested in computer science and engineering. So it's just like I don't really know what I'm going to do, but probably just Waterloo and U of T in Canada. And then in the US, I want to apply basically everywhere, but I also know, as you said, there are very high application fees. So, and I'm not sure about that.
Yeah.
Still figuring it out.
If like, okay, so for the US, I think I applied to way too many schools in the end. Like I feel like I should have I'm a different case because like my grades were definitely not like top tier anywhere like that. So I feel like I should have reevaluated like my case, if that makes sense. Like, like each person is like a case file when admission officers are looking at stuff. So it's like maybe I should have reevaluated and applied to more like not reach schools, like not only top 20 schools. But if you feel like it's like if you don't get into a top 20 university in the US and you would rather just fall back on Canada, then just like definitely apply for top 20. But if you want to go to the US, like definitely. I recommend looking into like liberal arts colleges. Do you know what those are? Like
kind of. I know like I know some examples, but I don't really know like the exact definition of what it is. I know they're very heavy in humanities, but
yeah, definitely. So that's Minty, you can like look into them too. But like liberal arts colleges, I feel like I didn't apply to any liberal arts colleges, but there are some they're ranked differently. So if you like search up like top 20 schools in the US, you'll see like Princeton, Harvard, Stanford, like Yale, MIT, but you won't see any of the liberal arts colleges because they're ranked like way differently. Williams College, I think. Let me search liberal arts college rankings. Yeah, Williams, Amherst, it's in Boston as well. Swarthmore, Pomona College in California is so pretty, but they're really small class. Like it's basically like high school 2.0 with all the, I think it's like the class of like 900 people total, like the entire school. So it's really, really small. Bowdoin, Claremont McKenna, U.S. Naval Academy. If anybody wants to go to sail ships later. There's quite liberal colleges are Middlebury. Middlebury is pretty popular as well. They're definitely really different in terms of like lifestyle or like I don't know how you. I'm not exactly sure. Like I think you can apply to the Common App. If you're also thinking of like most people do Common App, it's because it's more like popular. I think there's another one, Coalition application. If you exceed Common App only lets you apply to 20 schools max. And then if you exceed that, you can apply to Coalition, which is another 20 schools. I know someone who applied to 40 schools. Don't be that guy. Don't be that person. It's way too expensive. Like because when you pay the fee, it's like $75 for the US and then add tax. But then like you also have to do like the Canada version, which is like $100 or so. It's way too expensive.
Oh god, yeah, I can't imagine applying to more than 20 schools. Like that's like the maximum, I feel like. Wait, how did that guy end up doing though when he applied to 40 schools?
Yeah, he didn't do that well. I think he's from California, so he ended up going to UC Irvine, which is a great school, by the way. But I think for the amount of schools he was applying to, like he should have just like stuck with. I think his ego's a little inflated. We're not like super, super close, but like I like from the short time that I did know him, like I knew him like for like 8 weeks, or we were like I was at a summer school program at Stanford, so that's like where I met him. But he had this impression that he was getting accepted by everywhere. That's why he applied to 40 schools. But he's also like really rich, so that's why he had like the funds too. But what happened was he got rejected by his first choice, which was his ED, which was Rice University. I think he got rejected almost like everywhere except for UC Irvine and like a couple other places. I'm not exactly sure. But yeah, like I know at first you're going to be like, oh, these big name schools, you're going to want to apply to everything. But like really just look at what happens at each school. I don't want to influence you guys too much because I know like when I was applying, like some kid told me like, oh, Brown is disgusting. I hate Brown. It's like Providence is so it's the weather. The weather is gross. It's like really icky and like not breezy, but hot and humid. So they were like, I hate Brown so much because he did a summer school program there, and he was like, he's like my second, third cousin. So he was like, nope, I'm not about that life. And then I was like, okay, I don't like Brown either. But in the end, I was like, no, I kind of actually do like Brown. Like Emma Watson went there, and I love Emma Watson. So like I applied to Brown. I got rejected, but it's like I feel like a lot of the what people say can influence you. But I know Dartmouth. I heard if you guys are into Greek life, that's one thing. The difference. Canada doesn't have Greek life, but America does. Greek life is a little scary though. Like right now, Alabama Rush is happening, whereas like University of Alabama is like rushing for I think that's what it's called, like orientation kind of, or like like there's interview process. There's no interview process. It's called like rushing, and they like rank you based on how pretty you are or whatever. And it's like so scary. I would never go into Maya and I were just talking about it. We were like, I would never do sorority. It's too scary for me. But I think Dartmouth has like this Dartmouth has a frat house or a sorority house called Kappa Kappa Kappa, which is like the KKK house. Like that's a little scary. That's a little white supremacy, and I'm not about that. So a lot of the Ivy Leagues too, like Jerry was saying, a lot of rich kids go there, and most of the time it's because their dad like donated a building, or like their mom paid like donated a lot of money. It's not really like paying off, like it's completely legal, but like you donate a bunch of money, and then they're like, this person has money, and like automatic admission. Another thing is, do you guys have like older siblings?
Yeah.
No.
Yeah. Do you have older siblings in US schools? No? Okay. Yeah, US schools like do consider alumni. I think they're called legacy students. So legacy, it's a big thing. I had a friend who got into Stanford. She got rejected everywhere except for Stanford. And Stanford is a great school. It's like ranked number 4, I think. And I don't want to say this is the only reason, because she's really smart and she's really like a great person, but her dad did donate money to the school, and her dad did go to Stanford for law school. So yeah, there's definitely like factors like that are out of your control.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's definitely true though.
I don't know if this is too early to ask you, Serena, but because I know you're going to grade 10 and you like just finished your grade 9 year and it was like all online, but like, are you considering US schools too? I feel like I'm not talking to you enough. I'm trying to like get a little bit of everyone.
No, I'm probably just gonna apply like in province or maybe UBC, but like it's interesting to hear about US universities nonetheless. And like, I don't know, it's always good to keep options open.
Yeah, definitely. When who knows, if you do end up applying, it's like, it's like just for the, what's it called? Like you get to just experience the process. It was a really stressful process, guys. I don't want to scare you guys, but it was really, really scary. Like everyone would talk to each other about it, and then you're like, oh, did you apply here, or did you apply here? Like, which one are you eating to? Like, what's going on? And then it'd be so such an like aggressive conversation. And like, there was like subtleties, where they go like, oh, are you applying here? It's like, I already got all my essays done from here. Like, what about you? Or like, it's not even like that, like front on. It's kind of like passive, where they go, oh, did you finish this essay for like Harvard, or did you finish this essay for Stanford? Like, or what did you write for here? And then you're like, oh shoot, I haven't even started. Like, should I have started? Ugh, so much competition. It's terrifying.
Oh no. Yeah, that sounds scary, but also at my school, there aren't a lot of students who are applying to US universities. So I feel like it's kind of the opposite, because I don't have anyone else to talk to. So I'm just kind of confused, like, am I doing this right? Am I doing it at the right time? Like, am I writing the right essays? So it's also kind of scary on the opposite side too.
Yeah. Me too. Like, I go to a really small like arts school, and yeah, like people from my school don't usually apply to like the big schools. Like in America, so I'm not sure.
Yeah, definitely. There's like pros and cons of everything. But Serena and I think both of us go to or went. I don't go to Bayview anymore, but I went to Bayview, and there's a lot of people apply because it's international baccalaureate. It's like may as well use your IB diploma for an international application. But during that time, it's like, yeah, you definitely keep people in check. It's like, oh, don't forget November 1st is the early deadline, or like, oh, don't forget to like January 1st is the regular decision deadline. In the end, it's kind of like, oh, like you could keep each other in check, but at the same time, it's like a little bit toxic. If you want to know like general indicators, I think those are just the two main dates, but not everything is due on January 1st for regular. I do know like some of the IDs are like a little later, like they're staggering because they don't want to, what's it called? They just don't want to have like everyone submit like all at once, because then like the essays are going to be like really bad and rushed. I definitely rushed a lot of mine over the winter break. Another thing is like, don't start them in the winter break. You're going to think you have a lot of time during the winter break, but it's actually not that much time, because you're going to be writing essay after essay, and then at one point they just start turning out like robot writing instead of like genuine heartfelt essays. Yeah. You guys can ask me any other questions. I'm really like, I got rejected from a lot of places too, so I feel like that's like insightful, but like not who you want to talk to about like getting in. But yeah, I'm open to having any questions asked.
Just curious. Oh wait.
Go ahead.
Okay, how many total essays did you end up writing?
Oh, okay. I will answer this question, except I will need to open up a spreadsheet or like actually count them. Okay. A lot. I feel like that's all I can say. Common App is one essay that you have to write, like one big essay for Common App that every school gets. The UC system, because I did apply to UC system as well, and I got I was considering like UC Davis, which was agriculture and bioscience heavy, so that's why I didn't want to go there, because it's like not as humanities focused. But California, oh, I wish I chose it for the location. Okay, so the UCs have 4 big essays, and that's all you have to write. And the 4 essays are 250 words or 300 words, 400 words. No, 400 words each, I'm pretty sure. I think, oh gosh, I don't know. There's a lot. Okay, if you want to know like the ones with the most essays, if you like writing, Stanford and USC have a lot of essays, just based on like experience, and also like some of the ones that I know, like Princeton also has a lot of essays. I didn't apply to Princeton. Did I? I don't think I applied to Princeton. There's a lot of essays for Princeton. What else? Harvard has quite a few. Harvard has a lot of like long essays, but not like short questions. If you want like fun essays, definitely apply to Stanford. It's so much fun. They ask you like really, really fun questions. USC too. USC, University of Southern California, they ask like, what's your favorite snack? And it's like 100 characters. Yeah. And it's like, or what's your favorite song? Or Yale has some fun essays too. Not that many, but like a couple of fun essays. I think Dartmouth and Duke has like 2 big essays that are like 250 words, or 1 essay that's 250 words. I think that's about it. Like, oh, and NYU has like 1 big 400 word essay. It's like pretty hard, but it's not that bad. Yeah, I think that's about it. I don't know like the total number, because I'm gonna have to like count each individual document. That's gonna take way too long, but I think the approximate estimate that like is a number that gets thrown around a lot. I think it's like 400-ish. No, that seems so wrong. Okay, maybe. Depends, I guess. 200 to 400. Let me like, it's like the ballpark. That sounds really wrong though. Now that I'm saying it out loud, that sounds like extremely wrong. Okay. I'm gonna say 100 cap, I think. But most of them are like really long, like 250. It depends on the number of schools you apply to. So I applied to like more than 20 schools, 17 for the Common App, like a couple for the UCs, and then like, oh, for Canadian schools, Queens has a lot of writing if you want to go to Queens. Serena, are you thinking humanities, or are you more like sciencey?
Probably STEM/business.
Okay, so yeah, so there's a So if you apply for commerce, it's two essays. Commerce is 2 essays. I think health sci is also the same number of essays. And Queens is a little different. It's like in the beginning, they opened their application in October, November. I'm not exactly sure. I'm so sorry. I thought I would remember all these answers, but yeah, they open it like sometime October, November, and the questions change each month. So if you choose to apply in October, you're not going to get your decision early, but you're going to just submit it earlier. If you choose to apply in, like, for example, November, they'll give you November's batch of questions, and then, there'll be 4. When you choose from the 4, you choose 2, and then you write 2 essays. And then December will be like a new batch of questions, and then so is January. And then I think there's one round in February. I'm not sure. I applied for the November round, so that's like my questions were kind of boring. I feel like I should have waited for the December round because the December ones were much more fun and easier to write. So you still have to write essays for Canadian schools. It's just not as important. I don't want to say important. I feel like Canadian schools do value your grades more though.
Yeah, Canadian universities are a lot more grade heavy than US universities. Like I think in the US it's more about like, being well-rounded or having like extracurriculars that you're passionate about and stuff like that.
Yeah, definitely. I think it's good and it's bad because Canadians, like, I think though, like, I don't want to say like get your hopes up with like, because I do know people who've gotten rejected from Canadian schools. Like I know a lot of friends who were like super good at CS and got rejected from Waterloo CS, and I was like, oh, that's so unfortunate. But then I know some people who didn't know coding at all and got in, so it's really just like a gamble. But they do care about your grades. But then like at the same time, Waterloo CS was so weird this year. Is that what you were considering applying to, Angelina?
Yeah.
A lot of girls got in, and I don't want to say it's because they were pushing the like gender equality thing, but at the same time I do think it's because they are pushing that, because a lot of girls that I knew got in, but a lot of guys that I knew who, but at the same time, like they deserve to get in. Like they worked hard their entire high school career as well. But a lot of it is like what's it called, a lot of it is like, don't sound full of yourself, because like my theory is that like all the guys were like, oh yeah, I knew all about coding, like there's nothing more I can learn, I know all the languages in code, I know how to like hack into like the IBM or whatever. And it's like, ooh, we don't want to take you. This applies to like US schools as well. Like they really like students who are like open-minded and willing to grow, but students that are like really closed-minded and are like, oh, I already know everything, like I don't need to learn anymore, they don't like those students because they're like, oh, then why are you going to college?
Yeah, that's true. But I feel like there's a very fine line between presenting yourself as a student that they want to accept and then not bragging about your accomplishments, right? It's like you don't know if you're just stating it makes you sound like you are arrogant.
Yeah.
And sometimes if you don't state it, it's like, what if they just think you don't have what it takes to be a student at that university? So it's like, yeah.
I think have you started your Common App yet? Just out of curiosity. Not that you're like supposed to start this early or anything.
Like I have brainstormed ideas for the essays, but I haven't actually started writing.
That's okay. Yeah, so the thing about Common App is that like it's a little easier for American schools to like show how much you've accomplished, I guess, because in addition to the essay section, there's like 20 activities or 10 activities that you can list. So you like list out 10 and then you like very blatantly you state like what you've accomplished within it and like what you do for the activity and like how you plan on or like how many hours you put into it. So they see like concrete examples like, oh, like Ignite Fair, co-chair, like I don't know, like 3 hours a week or for like 54 weeks a day, like a 54 weeks in a year, right?
Yeah.
Okay. I think another thing is like some nice numbers to put in your activities list is like 54 if you really want to like emphasize that you work on it like year round. Like for example, some people put like, oh, I take care of my little brother or like my little siblings because it's like a vital part to their lifestyle. So they would work like 54 weeks in a year. But like sometimes if you don't want to seem like you're stretching it too far, I think 48 is a good number as well. And then if you only do it during the school year, then write 30. Those are the numbers that I use. I thought that they like made the most sense. So I was like, okay, this sounds like it makes sense. What was I trying to say? Yeah, like so the activities list, like you can really just like blatantly state like this is what I do, and you don't have to like seem like you're bragging or anything. There's also like an awards section with like 5 awards you can list. So you could do like math awards or excuse me, oh my gosh. I'm not tired, I promise. I'm just like the lighting is like not good. But like you can like state like which awards you want, so like math or like I did like public speaking a lot, so I like listed all my public speaking awards. DECA was one thing that I did. I didn't want to talk about it because I was like, oh, everyone here did DECA, like Kelly, Jerry, Michelle. I think everyone did DECA. I don't know about Marjorie because she went to a totally different school than me, but yeah, they all did DECA. I did DECA too. I didn't like it, so I stopped in grade 12. But DECA awards, I listed that as well. Yeah, so like during the essay part, you can be more genuine. Does that make sense? You don't have to like seem like you're bragging. Whereas in Canada, I'm sorry, I feel like I'm going on so many tangents trying to get this conversation going. In Canada, it's like when you list your activities, you're like, oh, I learned creativity through like this experience, which allowed me to like learn this because I got into ICDC for DECA. It's like the segue is a little awkward and it's a little more like straightforward. Like look at all my awards, or like look at how much I've accomplished through my essay, and it just seems a little braggy, but like that's just the way they want it. I think the thing for Western too, oh my gosh, let me see if I can open my Western application. Western Ivy, they accept, this sounds bad to say, but they do over accept because Western Ivy, it's like competitive once you get into the program. Like not everybody like continues with it. So Western Ivy, like they accept a lot of people, and you don't have to be like the shiniest applicant just to like get, and I can't get into my portal because I declined their acceptance and they're not letting me in. But Western, oh my gosh, I saw a video that said like, oh, that's another thing, guys. Sorry, so many tangents. Watch a lot of YouTube videos of like people try to like look for professors, not like just students who've been admitted, because a lot of the students who have been admitted, they're on like their high horse and they think like, oh, I can talk about how to get in and I can teach other people how to get in. It's like, ooh, maybe not, because you don't actually know what got you in and you can only just assume. But a lot of professors will tell you like, oh, this is what like USC is looking when we ask you like this weird question about which snack you like, and this is what like Princeton is looking for when we ask you about like what you like to do in your free time. Princeton essays were pretty fun actually. I like the essay questions. I looked at them. There was a lot. That's why I didn't apply. I think it was like 6 questions, 9 questions. A lot of questions, a lot of essays to write. But I was like, no, I'm not going to. I'm not going to apply. Yes,
yeah, I'm still confused about the point of those essays about like, oh, what is your favorite snack? Because yeah, you're learning about the person, but then why would the admissions decision be based on your favorite snack, right? So that's why I'm a little bit confused about like what they're looking for in those like very fun essays. Or is it just like you just write genuinely and it doesn't really matter what you write? I'm not sure. Like,
for sure, it's okay. It is definitely really confusing. I actually personally love the what's it called, the USD questions, because they're so funny. But I think it's just to show that you are not just like a brain dead academic student. Like all I do is just study, eat, sleep, school, repeat. Like that's not what they're looking for. They're also looking for people who are like globally minded and like want to make a difference in the world, and to like, obviously you can't tell if you want to make a difference in the world based on your like snack question, but they're also trying to see if you have personality. So my answer to the snack question was like, what is your favorite snack? I was like, a breadless sandwich. So meat, meat, and then cheese. Because I ate that a lot. And I thought it was like a quirky thing that I ate. Like, oh my gosh, I'm so cool. I'm so different. But like, really, it was just like a funny thing that I ate when I was like really, really hungry and my mom didn't want to make anything for me. I just like go in and get like a sandwich meat and then like a slice of cheese. It was kind of gross, kind of like not very healthy. But like, it's, if anything, it's healthier than a regular sandwich because it's there's no carbs or there's no bread.
There's no bread.
Yeah, there's no bread, right? And there's no like sauce or like anything else. It's just, that's like what I ate. So I was like, okay, that's funny. I know some people who would write like, my favorite snack is like the little Asian, you know, those like Asian like circular ball snacks. I don't know.
Is it like the, that's kind of, I don't know how to describe it, but
yeah, I don't know how to describe it either, but
I know what you're talking about. Yeah.
Some people who like are really big on their like Asian identity, they would like, or this is just from like a video that I watched from YouTube where this girl read out her application that got accepted, and you could just like see like there's a clear theme to you, where it's like she was really passionate about her Asian identity. So she talked about like everything Asian. And then I think there was there was like, oh, if you had a theme song, what would it be? And then there was like dream trip. So I was like Australia, so I could finally hug a koala, and it was like really funny. We have another person. Hi, Chloe. Okay, and then I think there was like, there's a lot of short answer questions from USC. I really like questions from USC. I guess it's not really affected that I'm reading you my USC application questions, because I did get like waitlisted and then rejected from USC, which was fine, but I just think like the questions are really fun. They're really interesting. And favorite book, you definitely don't want to be basic and say like Harry Potter or anything, but I said like Girl in Translate, unless Harry Potter is like a big identity to like who you are, then big part of your identity, then like say whatever matches what you want to write. But I was like, oh, Girl in Translation is my favorite book. It's like this book about this girl who like I realize I'm using the filler word like a lot and becoming hyper aware of this singular word that I'm saying. Girl in Translation was about it was based on a real story. It was this girl who moved to the New York with her mom, and she was from China or Hong Kong originally, and because like she used to be from Hong Kong, she couldn't speak any English, and the whole story was about her journey with her mom in like a foreign country, and she ended up having to work for her aunt who owned a sweatshop, and she would like work these countless hours, and it was just about her experience as a immigrant. And I thought that at the end of the book I was like bawling. I was so sad, not because of her story was really sad, but it was like a little bit of romance intertwined into the book, and it was about like right person, wrong time trope. That trope gets me. Oh, it's so sad. Yeah, so that book meant a lot to me, so I talked about it, or I wrote like one line about it. Yeah. Hi, Chloe, do you have any questions for me? I'm just rambling right now. If you just want to listen to me talk, that's fine too.
I do have a question. My question is that when you're applying for universities in the States, is there a different portal that you have to take?
No. So it's like the same thing for everybody. It's just the common application. You can also use the coalition application. It's spelled like coal, like the rock, and then ITION, I believe. It might be easier if someone can like put it in the chat, but coalition application, most people use Common App. It's more easier in my opinion. A lot of people, I don't know any Canadian students who use coalition, but I know it's like a popular option in America for some students, because there are a couple of universities that don't take Common App. So I think Washington University or University of, yeah. So there's Washington University, and then there's University of Washington in St. Louis. They're not the same school. One of them's in Washington, like the state, and then the other one is in St. Louis. I don't know where the other one is in, like the state, but like I know Washington University doesn't take Common App. So if you want to apply there, I know the campus is really pretty. My friend applied there and she was considering going because I think a lot of people say that the campus looks like Harry Potter, like Hogwarts. So if you're into that type of like scene, then definitely check that out. But yeah, that's same portal. Sorry, long-winded answer.
Yeah, wait, so for the comment application, when you were filling out the activities section, I know they give you a very small amount of space to write everything. I think it's only 150 characters. So like for that section about what that activity is, what would you recommend putting there? Is it just like bullet points instead of like full sentences?
Would it help if I read you what I write? Because I don't remember how I did it at all right now.
Yeah, I think that would be really helpful.
Okay, let me see. Common App. This Common App. No, this is my actual Common App essay. Where am I looking? Oh wait, no, I think it's here. Activities list. There we go. Okay, full activities list. Let me see. So I actually wrote. Okay, so this is how I did. Ew, this is really ugly. I swear it was more organized than this. No. Give me a second. I think. Okay, I opened the wrong one. That's probably why. Yeah. Okay, so let me just read you like a couple of mine. So one thing that I did that I actually like felt really proud of was I ran like my own podcast for a while, just as like a personal project to keep myself like doing something. I thought it was less for school and more for myself. So I just thought that was fun to put it on. The podcast was called Hope You Can Relate. I don't work on it anymore because I can't dedicate myself fully to it. So I was like, okay, I'm just gonna end it here. But I was like the producer, the host, the like editor of like the entire thing. And they tell you like the activity type. So I was like, okay, it's journalism and then like position. So it's 50 characters. So I just go producer/host. Like that's it. Sometimes I just like president. You could just write co-chair or chair of like Ignite Fair. You don't even have to write co-chair. Like personally, I think like if you talk with the people that you like do things with, like if you co-founded something with someone and they're not applying to this US and you are, like ask them like, hey, is it okay if I like just write like founder instead of co-founder? I definitely think that like it's not really cheating, it's more just like agreeing that you can do something. But yeah, I wrote like producer/host, organization name. I wrote like Hope You Can Relate podcast. I think that's how it was. I got rid of some sections because I couldn't fit it in the page, but here's the activity description. I was like, recording a podcast featuring the stories of Black, Indigenous, POC, LGBTQ plus, and minority youth around the world to educate and build solidarity through storytelling. So that's basically, yeah, like it's just 150 characters, but I recommend full sentences. Definitely helps capture it a little better. Right.
That makes sense. Do you think you have to also describe, like if you're part of an organization, would you describe what the organization is?
Oh yeah, definitely. Here, let me quickly read one more because like breakout rooms are about to close. For public schools, I founded this other organization for public speaking. I'm like created an organization that offers mentorship resources and tournament opportunities to a public high school, expanding speech and debate. The speech and debate network. That's basically what it was.
Oh, yeah. Cool. Okay.
Yeah. So just like you have to like cut it down. Sorry, I just don't want to like talk in the main room by accident, but like you have to cut it down and then like it will just start by like writing everything and then cut it down later. All right, guys, I think we have to go now.
Thank you so much.
Bye.